Chapter 1. The Day the World Paused. Lena Carter's alarm screamed at 7:03 a.m. She groaned, slapping it silent. Through her cracked eyelids, the morning light bled into her cramped studio apartment. Another day, another shift at St. Vincent's ER, stitching up drunk frat boys and pretending she didn't regret dropping out of med school. She dragged herself to the window, yanking the curtains open, and froze. Outside, the city was a tableau. A barista in the cafe across the street stood motionless, her arm extended, a coffee cup hovering midair as if held by invisible strings. The customer's fingers barely grazed it, frozen in the act of acceptance. A pigeon hung suspended above the sidewalk, wings spread against the sky like a taxidermied relic. No sound, no wind. Lena's breath hitched. Am I dreaming? She pinched her arm. The pain was sharp, real. Her phone rang. The screen flashed, unknown caller. She fumbled to answer. Hey, hello? A man's voice, rough with exhaustion. Don't panic. You're not crazy. Time stopped. And if you want to survive, meet me at the corner of 5th and Mercer in 10 minutes. The line went dead. Lena's hands trembled. She threw on a hoodie and sprinted downstairs, her sneakers slapping against the silent pavement. The streets were a museum of stillness. A woman's laughter hung in the air, half-formed. A cyclist balanced impossibly on one wheel, his face slack. At the intersection, a lone figure leaned against a lamppost. Daniel Cole looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. His dark hair was matted, his leather jacket smeared with dirt. When he saw her, his bloodshot eyes widened. "Took you long enough," he said. His voice was raw, like he hadn't used it in days. Lena's pulse roared in her ears. "Who the hell are you? What's happening?" Daniel exhaled, long and slow. Then he pointed behind her. A single raindrop hung in the air, refracting the sunlight into a tiny prism. "I've been stuck like this," he said, "for 26 days. He met her gaze. "You're the first person I've seen move since it started." A flicker of movement in Lena's peripheral vision. Down the alley, a shadow pulsed, a humanoid smear against the brick wall, its edges wavering like static. Daniel grabbed her wrist. "We need to go. Now." Chapter 2. The Rules of a Frozen World. Daniel's hideout was a ransacked electronics store. He barricaded the doors with shelves and slept between rows of frozen TVs, their screens glitching with fragmented images. "The rules," he said, tossing her a protein bar. 1. No sound unless we make it. 2. Electricity's dead, but batteries work. 3. Food's edible if you take it from frozen people's hands? Lena gagged, pushing the bar away. Daniel shrugged, biting into a stolen candy bar. "You'll get over it." He showed her his journal, a timeline of his solitary hell. Day 1, confusion. Day 7, screaming into the void. Day 18, the first shadow sighting. Lena flicked to the last entry. "They're watching. They know I'm here." "Who's they?" she asked. Before he could answer, a noise, a click, like a camera shutter. They spun. A shadow stood in the doorway, its face a smeared blank. Daniel lunged, slamming the door shut. The shadow's fingers slipped through the gap, gray, withered, frozen solid. "Don't let them touch you," he panted. Lena's hand shook. "What are they?" Daniel's voice dropped to a whisper. "The leftovers." Chapter 3. The Lab Heist. Voss Laboratories loomed ahead, its glass doors frozen mid-swing. Inside, the security guard's snarl was preserved in eerie detail. Daniel disabled the backup generator with practiced ease. Janitor perks. He muttered, The lab was a graveyard of half-finished experiments. Lena's stomach lurched at a containment pod labeled Subject D, deceased. Then she saw her name. Project Kronos File, Lena Carter, age 6. "This is impossible," she whispered. The photo showed her as a child, hooked to wires, her eyes glazed. Daniel's jaw tightened. "You don't remember?" A shadow flickered at the end of the hall. They ran. Chapter 4, The Janitor's Confession. In the lab's break room, Daniel broke down. "I saw it happen," he rasped. "Voss tested the machine, and people just faded, like someone hit erase." Lena found a security tape. The footage showed Dr. Elias Voss adjusting a massive device, the Kronos core. A child's voice, hers, screamed as the machine whirred. Voss's recorded voice. "Subject L is the only one who adapted." A shadow grabbed Daniel's arm. His skin turned gray, rigid. He screamed. Chapter 5, The Wound That Doesn't Bleed. Daniel's arm was frozen to the elbow, lifeless but painless. "It's spreading," he whispered. They discovered a hidden sublevel. The Kronos core pulsed there, its fractured heart leaking tendrils of light. Voss's body slumped against it, a gun in his stiff hand. On his desk, a photo of Lena and a woman, her mother, dated 2043. Lena's vision swam. "None of this makes sense." Daniel coughed, his fingertips now gray. "You're the key," he said. "You always were." Chapter 6, The Betrayal. Lena woke to silence. Daniel's sleeping bag was empty, his journal gone. Only a single page remained, pinned under a frozen coffee cup with trembling handwriting. "They're not stopping time. They're stealing it. Find the anchor. And Lena, don't trust future me." A noise, metal screeching. She whirled to see the Kronos core's access door swinging open. Inside, the machine hummed, its fractured center pulsing like a dying star. Wires snaked to a chair with restraints. Her childhood photo was taped to the headrest. Then she saw it, a security monitor flickering with live footage. Daniel stood in the lab's lobby, talking to a shadow. No negotiating. The shadow's form solidified into a mirror image of himself, down to the frozen arm. "Bring her to the core," Shadow Daniel said, its voice glitching. "Complete the cycle." Lena's breath caught. The real Daniel turned toward the camera, his eyes pitch black. She ran. Chapter 7, The Shadow City. The streets had changed. Buildings bent at impossible angles, their bricks melting like wax. Shadows clustered in doorways, whispering, "Little anchor, you left us unfinished." Lena ducked into a frozen newsstand. The headline mocked her. "Chaos as time stutters, 47 hours missing from city clocks. Dated 3 days before the freeze." A hand grabbed her shoulder. She screamed, but it was just a frozen pedestrian, his face twisted in fear. Then she noticed he was warmer than the others. A crackle of static. The shadows surged as one, their forms resolving into familiar faces. Lena's mother, her third-grade teacher, Daniel. They spoke in unison. "You were supposed to fix us." Lena's vision whited out. She saw herself at 30 in a lab coat, adjusting the Kronos core. Daniel, screaming as his body unraveled into shadows. Voss, firing the gun, not at her, but at the machine. She woke in the lab's basement, strapped to the chair. Daniel loomed over her, his frozen arm now creeping up his neck. "It's the only way," he murmured. "You're the anchor. You always were." The machine whirred to life. Chapter 8, The Choice. The Kronos core's display flashed. Cycle incomplete. Select. 1. Reset anchor, memory wipe initiated. 2. Terminate loop, core destruction. Daniel's fingers hovered over the controls. Voss figured it out too late, he said. The machine doesn't stop time. It harvests it. Those shadows, they're pieces of people caught between cycles. Lena strained against the restraints. You knew. You've done this before. His smile was sorrowful. Every time, you choose to forget. A shadow oozed from the ceiling. Voss, his mouth sewn shut with static. Daniel's hand spasmed toward option 1. Lena kicked hard, toppling the chair. The restraint snapped. She lunged for the gun in Voss's frozen hand. Chapter 9. The Reset. The gunshot echoed. The core's glass heart shattered. Light swallowed everything. Lena's last thought. I remember now. 7:03 a.m. The alarm blared. Lena gasped awake. Sunlight streamed through clean windows. The smell of coffee wafted from the kitchen. Daniel stood in the doorway, whisking eggs. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Her hands shook. On her wrist, a gray mark shaped like a handprint. Outside, a shadow flickered past a lamppost. The next chapter, the loop. Daniel paused, his spoon clattering. You feel it too, don't you? His voice dropped. Like today's already happened. Lena's phone buzzed. A notification. Voicemail received. 7:04 a.m. She played it, her own voice distorted, whispered, Don't reset the machine this time. Daniel's reflection in the window wasn't blinking. Somewhere, a clock struck 7:05. Epilogue. The first cycle. The white room smelled of antiseptic and burnt copper. 6-year-old Lena kicked against the restraints, her tiny wrists raw from struggling. Subject L is stable, said Dr. Elias Voss, adjusting the dials on the chronoscore. His lab coat sleeve rode up, revealing a wristwatch frozen at 7:07. Across the room, a young janitor, Daniel, age 19, paused his mopping. Sir, is this safe? The other kids are fine, Voss snapped. But the security feed behind him told a different story. Empty containment pods labeled Subject A through K, their glass smeared with frantic handprints. Lena's mother, Dr. Anya Carter, gripped her daughter's hand. It's just a game, Solnishko. Count backwards from 10. The machine whirred to life. 10. The lights dimmed. 9. Daniel dropped his mop. 8. Voss's watch began ticking backwards. 7. Shadows peeled from the walls. 6. Reaching for Lena. 5. Her mother screamed. 4. The core cracked. 3. Voss grabbed a fire axe. 2. Daniel lunged for Lena. 1. White light. Lena blinked. She was back in the chair, but taller, older. The restraints were loose. Across the room, adult Daniel mouthed, This time, remember. The shadows surged. Alternate ending. The break. Lena stood over the shattered core, gun smoking. Daniel's body dissolved into static. His final whisper, You always pull the trigger. The world unspooled. Buildings bled into the sky. Frozen people cracked like porcelain. The shadows applauded. A figure emerged from the wreckage. Child Lena, her eyes hollow. You were supposed to save us. Lena's hands were erasing. She smiled. Not this time. Fade to static.